My own children had the blessing of having my grandmother, who was born in 1910, having a great hand in their upbringing and sharing those stories, not even for the purpose of making them culturally aware, but just because that was her experience. My father, who was born in 1923, the grandmother I spoke of was my mother's mother, but my father was born in 1923 here in Miami. And just my children being able to hear his stories, the things which were fun to him and the things which were maybe funny to him, but at the same time, the perspective of having grown up in a segregated Miami and all of the things that meant, all of the restrictions, but again, the determination that African Americans had to make their lives whole and full, despite what other people might have wanted to put upon them as something negative. And so I'm excited about talking about Judge Thomas and his contribution to Miami. I heard about the pride and the goodwill that African Americans felt towards his having served as the first African American judge, to his willingness to basically put his own life on the line and to really carry that mantle for our community. It really was a labor of love to come into this community and to be the face of that. I'm sure it was very lonely for him. I believe he met and married his wife while here in Miami, but I'm sure it was very isolating to be that person because you don't really fit in fully with the African Americans, many of whom were still doing domestic work and what have you, and they didn't really understand what he was doing, but they knew that what he was doing was for the greater good. I recently did a Black History Month presentation for students here in the Miami-Dade County Schools. One of our judges now, every month or every year for the past couple of years for Black History Month, he has asked African American lawyers, judges, and as well as people of other communities to go on Zoom with a classroom, a middle school classroom within our Miami-Dade County schools and talk about African American history. And so last year, I chose as my topic, because I'm a lawyer, I talked about Black lawyers. And I did, of course, talked about Thurgood Marshall and some of the people on the national stage. And then I talked about Lawson Thomas. And I did my own research so that I could speak intelligently to children about his contribution. Those sacrifices which he made, as well as many others during the civil rights movement, that our children, my own children and children younger than my children, not take for granted their right to vote and their right to seek these careers, that we just not forget about all of the sacrifices that Judge Thomas and others made for them to have that opportunity. Judge Thomas, together with I think some local pastors and I believe maybe a couple of other professionals, I think, as a matter of fact, I think Garth Reeves might have been among those who went to the beach. They did a wade-in, so to speak. It's interesting that these were professional men.